and welcome to another episode of Restaurant Royalty Catering with the Queen. So, I haven't seen you in a while, but I want to say hello again. And today is going to be a little different. Normally, I talk about consulting and I talk about a hot topic for the month. Today is going to look a little different. If you follow me on LinkedIn at all, you know that I told a little story earlier today. And that story was about me creating a really deep dive strategy for a national restaurant brand. Well, as I said in that post, I don't like my strategies to collect dust. So now it is a gift to all of you. And we're going to jump right in. But before we get started in the slides, I want to set the scene a little bit. So, this playbook started as a leadership case study for a fictional fast casual brand, but the reality behind it is really real. I've spent years inside enterprise brands watching catering grow and then watching it break. Not because the food wasn't good and not because the demand wasn't there, but because catering was treated like a side channel instead of a true business. And honestly, most brands don't have someone whose full time job is actually thinking about this end to end. So, what you're about to see isn't a list of launches or promotions. This is not a catering sales manager deck. It is a blueprint for how catering actually scales without burning out teams or eroding margins. So, let's start with where this business actually is. Here's the starting point. So, this brand has built a strong regional presence. They have scratch made food, loyal guests, and they have a growing off premises demand. Great. So, on the surface, things look really healthy, and they usually do. But when you zoom in on catering, it tells a really different story. Today, catering represents just 6.5% of total sales, and that's despite a strong average order value of about $310. They also have a healthy net promoter score of 74 and steady marketplace demand. That tells us something really important. The problem isn't demand, the problem really is structure. And there are four core challenges holding catering back. First, they have really long lead times. When orders require a full day notice, you miss the moments that matter most, especially in a B2B space. Second, there's heavy marketplace reliance. It brings volume, but it also brings margin pressure and a fractured guest relationship. Third, inconsistent fulfillment, especially when delivery ownership isn't clearly defined. There's a lot of chatter about delivery recently, so that's going to come up a lot. And finally, limited internal alignment, which usually means catering lives in the cracks between teams instead of having a clear owner. And yet, the opportunity is right there. There's a clear path to doubling catering contribution to 12% by future year 27, shifting more demand into direct, higher margin channels, and building a repeatable catering engine that actually supports expansion. So the question isn't whether catering can grow, it's whether anyone is actually accountable for making it work. And then there's the path forward. This is where focus actually matters. Catering doesn't fail from lack of ideas, it really fails from lack of ownership and lack of cross functional support. The path forward centers on three things. First, demand acceleration, not just more orders, but the right orders, ones that protect margins, shorten prep cycles, and don't exhaust teams. Second, digital and delivery growth. If first party ordering isn't easier than marketplace, guests won't switch. Why would they? Third, consistent, disciplined execution. This is the part that requires an actual leader, not a side project. Everything in this playbook ladders back to these three focus areas. This project canvas is the lens for my entire strategy. At the center is a simple promise: bold flavor and great value made easy for groups through simple ordering and dependable delivery. From there, the work focuses on three initiatives. So, first, driving demand through value, convenience, and variety, accelerating growth through digital and delivery, building consistency through playbooks, marketing, and KPIs. Supporting all of this, playbooks, checklists, training, support, and alignment. This is the stuff that usually gets split across five teams and fully owned by nobody. And that's exactly why catering struggles to scale. When these pieces come together, there is really real impact. Lead times come down, guest satisfaction move towards a 4.5 or a 5, marketplace cannibalization decreases, teams are aligned, and digital conversion improves because ordering finally feels easy and seamless. But here's the real unlock: frameworks don't scale businesses. Even if you have this, it's going to be hard to scale because people do. And someone at your brand has to wake up every day responsible for making this system work. So, before we talk about menus, promotions, or marketing calendars, there's one bigger question we have to answer first. What do we actually want this catering program to be known for? And who owns that vision? That's where the program vision comes in, and that is what we'll tackle next. So, in the coming weeks, please stay tuned for everything else that this strategy deck has to offer. Again, I'm sorry that I'm not in my traditional format, but I thought this was so important to share. Until next time, thanks for joining. It's the Catering Queen.